Okay, I think we're all set.
Very good. Good to go.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. This meeting of the Northborough Open Space Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020. Due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the virus, the town of Northborough has been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. And as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. All members of the Northborough Open Space Committee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows Northborough Open Space Committee to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to the Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the town website. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. I'm not aware that this meeting will have public comment, but should there be members who raise, then we will welcome them in. But otherwise, we can proceed. Welcome.
John, I miscounted. I counted myself as the fifth. You only have 4 members, which means you don't have a quorum yet.
Oh, okay.
Brian did just send me a message that he won't be coming, but we are expecting Anthony and Ashley.
All right, that's fine. Well, sometimes it's nice that you're not the only one late.
Yes.
So we are live, however. Who we have so far then, let me do a roll call at the moment is Leslie. I know I heard her. Who else is on?
Right here.
I see Dan.
Dan, yep, here.
Thank you. Whoops.
Hey, it's Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Hey,
How
John.
are you?
Good.
Happy New Year to you guys.
You too.
Happy New Year.
Time is flying, right?
So I sent an email and I can give them a call. Any preference who I should call first? Let me see who.
No.
It's a loaded
can't play
question. Have I
favorites.
ever heard one?
I'm going to call Anthony because Ashley might just be running behind with little kids. So I'm going to mute
Sounds good.
myself.
Are we able to conduct chatter in the meeting?
I don't think we can conduct any business, like any minutes or any of the items on the agenda.
Fair enough.
But you can ask about each other's cats and stuff. I'll give Anthony a call.
My cat is annoying, meowing to get out of the room, and as soon as I went and opened the door, he hid under the bed.
We have 2
I think it's
cats.
the most
They're annoying as
inopportune
well.
time to start. Pardon me?
We have 2 cats. They're annoying also. If anybody wants cats, please give me a call. My wife and I figure it's because we're at home much more than we used to be, right? So they're getting spoiled. I can't tell you, I guess, it's just news, that's public knowledge that the Community Preservation Committee approved Open Space's sponsored application for the Conservation Fund in the full amount of $400,000.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great.
So we potentially will more than double what was left in the Conservation Fund.
Anthony is on his way.
Sounds good.
Would you like me to call Ashley while we're waiting?
Sure.
I just texted her.
Okay.
I think she says she'll be a couple minutes late,
Oh, good. Thank you.
Okay.
or a couple minutes from now.
No problem. I also skied this past weekend on I'm not going to remember the trail now. Off of Boundary Street, that trailhead.
Old Farm?
Old Farm, thank you. And I mean, I found my own little cool route going up that and then bending back east, northeast, and that joins the loop trail.
And then
Yeah,
into
there's also-
Marlboro?
There's two huge meadows out in there too, which were fantastic snow for cross country, by the way.
Oh, great.
And the first day I laid some nice new tracks, and the second day people walked all over them, so I was pissed. Made new tracks, and the loop trail crosses Boundary Street to the other side, which I did on skis, and then it winds in there, and it's crazy, a little bit technical at several spots, but it was fun.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
We have Ashley and Anthony. If you want to roll call them in, and then we can get started whenever you're ready.
Excellent. Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
And Anthony, you're with us?
Yep, sorry so much. Sorry for being late, guys.
No problem. I was wicked late too, so. Glad to have you all. We have a pretty short agenda, so we'll dive right into it. I did tell the others before you two came on, just small news that you maybe already knew. The CPC approved our application in full for $400,000 to the conservation fund. So with luck, whenever town meeting happens, we'll be more than doubling the conservation fund. So I was pleased that that took place. And that was really all I wanted to talk about in what is the third bullet, a bold item on the agenda. But if anyone has any questions about that or anything conservation fund related, please chime in. Otherwise, I asked Mia to add to the agenda just a quick discussion item. Since we spent so much time on the open space and recreation plan, I'd like people's input, make a few notes about what is our role now in the implementation of it, and can we be proactive in any of those things? Does anybody have any thoughts in that regard, sort of laying the groundwork for what we might do in the coming year?
Would you like me to share the action plan?
Sure. Thank you.
Can you see it okay?
Yes.
Okay. So
Can
this,
you zoom in a little?
Mhm.
There you go. Yeah, great. Thanks.
so you can see you're the responsible party for all aspects of these objectives.
Just one idea I have is, I mean, I'd be happy to do this, but we could just come up with a priority list of properties. I mean, there's really not many. I think we all have it in our heads, but maybe we've never committed it to paper. But if we do something like that, does that become a public document? I mean, we don't have to share it, but if somebody requested it, we might have to share it.
Well, we've done that before, right? Pretty much every year we update
Okay,
what
there
we
you
think
go.
what we think our candidates are, and we have that list. So
Okay, yeah, Mia's showing that. I'd never seen this before, I don't think.
I just made it.
Yeah, okay, that's awesome, Mia.
I took the address list from your 2017 outreach and took all the properties I thought those addresses were associated with and put them into this spreadsheet.
Cool.
Wow.
So we can
Thank you.
just check it over and make sure that captures everything, but I'm sure it does.
Mhm.
Well, that accomplishes one. We could continue to do outreach, maybe send another round of letters to these folks.
And that's another item on tonight's agenda. So I don't know if you want to stay with the plan or move into this.
It pretty much overlaps, doesn't it? So yes,
Mhm.
please, let's just, I guess it's one and the same, if you will, as far as our informal discussion section below. So had we written individual letters? at
So
that time?
a lot of these are, individual letters. And there was, it was a generic letter that was sent out. Let me see if I can find it. I can show you an example.
Yeah, I don't remember sending it to all that entire list, but did we?
No, I elaborated on the list.
Okay, yeah.
So can you see the letter?
Yes.
It's a little small. It says, as a landowner of land in Northbury, you undoubtedly received numerous unsolicited offers from developers and real estate agents over the course of a year. You're not alone. Landowners across the region are bombarded by efforts. Is this ringing any bells?
Yeah.
This is a letter you guys drafted, and it looks, I have some PDF copies in the 2017 in my digital files, but I did find like address labels and an address list. And so that's what I made the spreadsheet from. Do you want me to go back to the spreadsheet, or do you want to look more at this letter longer?
I'm good to go back to the spreadsheet.
Okay.
Very nice.
Does it make sense to go through the spreadsheet instead of being smart about it, specific to which of these do we think are realistically viable, and then doing an
Yeah.
updated mailing?
Yeah, I think right off the top, I don't think that Bridle Path Drive is something we'd ever want to really go after, but I might be wrong.
The owner has plans to develop that into, I think it's a goat pasture. They haven't said definitely. They just asked me about wetlands permits
Okay.
and applying for 61A. I helped them to connect with the assessing office to apply for 61A.
So they want to keep it in goat pasture?
They do.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah.
Right now it's got mini ponies, and they're thinking
Yeah.
about expanding a bit to the mini ponies and goats.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, it's nice that it's open, but I feel like it's not an appropriate place for like a town-owned property. Plus, I don't see Bruce ever wanting to do that.
And then the first is the Bartlett Street property. I did send them an email, and I've spoken with them on the phone since then. They know you're interested.
Thanks, Mia.
Sure. And then Brigham Street was contacted in 2017. That's Juniper Hill Golf Course.
Did we ever get a response? I don't feel like we ever got a response back from them either way.
I didn't see any response to any letters
Yeah.
in the files, but I know you guys it's sort of created, like if we go further down, the Maney properties, which is pretty close, the Church Street properties. I think you developed a relationship with Mrs. Maney. Was it? I think I noted here that Ashley and Leslie were maybe the last contact.
Yeah, we kind of handed that one off to Norm because she was
Okay.
more interested in historic preservation. And I don't think that one's like a good open space project. It's nice to keep that land with the house, right, Leslie? And
Yeah, absolutely. Norm and I went and visited Jane, we went together. I mean, that could always change. I mean, she's getting way up there, and her daughter-in-law moved out, so she's there by herself now. But yeah, it's complicated. I don't think anything's going to happen at this point, but you never know. I just have a quick question for the Juniper Hill Golf Course. What's the difference? Is it wetlands? Why are 85 acres or 84 acres, $5.5 million, and 106 acres is 318? Is it wetlands, or what is the difference?
It's wetlands, and the Western Course has the building, has the big
Yeah.
facility.
so
Oh,
that
okay.
includes the building value.
Okay. All right.
Then this 395 Davis Street is that big white old Oberg house.
Right.
This was
Yeah. So So, I mean, for us, we're looking at just open space. We wouldn't be looking at any historic. I mean, that would be great if historic could get some kind of restriction on that one, but I don't see that happening either. But June did get that. So I think her brother was going to develop it and she now owns it outright. So
Are
it's
we
not
talking about
gonna be
Davis
built.
Street? Davis Street or
Yeah.
Cherry Street?
Davis Street.
That's never been on historic's radar before, by the way.
I wonder why not.
I can take it back, but
I think I think the inside is chopped up, but I don't know. I've never been inside. But I
I'll ask
know,
Norm.
yeah,
It is
it's a
multiple
beautiful-
apartments.
beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful exterior, but I know Bruce was going to knock it down and develop that whole area, and then June purchased it from him at auction. So she's saving it. But I don't think that would be something for open space.
395. Okay.
Should I take it out if we?
I mean, I don't know what everyone else thinks, but I think that one and Bridle Path don't make sense to be on this list.
I would agree.
I'm gonna.
So this is the big old farm you're talking about on Davis Street, right?
Big old farm. I mean, yeah, I guess it's not very big, but yeah, it's the house,
Big
the White
farmhouse,
House
I
on
should
the
say.
corner. It's like a
Like Davis
painted.
and Davis.
No, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, it is Davis and Davis. Yeah,
Okay.
it's like
There's
a
like a sub.
not like a stone house that's painted white or something. And
I
it's
don't know. I
got a
haven't
barn
paid close to it,
attached.
but it's got like a horse pasture and.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll ask Norm about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Crawford Street, the Fidrich Family Realty. On that note too, I noticed that, Dan, you had noticed some work over there. Is that the same property?
Mhm.
And Leslie
the-
told you to go over and make cookies and see what they were doing.
No
Actually,
borrow
yeah,
sugar.
Yeah, a couple of
Like
questions.
your biannual visit to them, right?
Yeah, well, it used to be a lot more acres than that. Did something happen? It used to have 60 acres and,
I think it's 3 separate parcels. So that might be just one of them.
okay. So, I mean, the son-in-law did build a house sort of next to the existing house, but most of the backland is still, woods and fields. So I don't know how the son-in-law feels about conservation. It's probably worth, I mean, they never respond. I think I actually sent them a personal letter myself too. They never responded to anything I've ever sent them. So,
Yeah.
I think we should definitely revisit it though. I
Continue.
mean, time changes.
Yeah.
and-
Oh,
Mrs. Fidrich came in and talked to Kathy after one of our letters and said, well, I'm not interested in doing anything right now, but thank you for the letter, or something like that. And she was inquiring about building the house for her daughter. But
Yeah.
it didn't sound like she was closing the door, but she was just like, we're not there. Yeah, it does look like 65 acres, 29 acres, and then another 10.
oh, I see. I was looking, you had it by street. I was looking at the, gotcha.
so there's one in the back that has no
Right.
houses on it. That's 0 Crawford. Then there's another Fidrich. That's why I separated it out so we could
Gotcha.
search by
Yep.
owner if we needed to. And here's another Fidrich at 260, and that's the
Right.
one that has the homes on it, and a parcel was just taken off for a single family house.
Oh, I see the house. Yeah. It's a long driveway.
There's another one at there's two 260s.
Yeah, it looks like that's where the 2 houses are. Huh, they have the same address.
Oh, there's
Sure.
20 West. That's what it is.
Oh,
I think I already have that one. 58-8. Yep. Is another. So there's 3 parcels. There's 0 West, 0 Crawford, and 260 West are all Fidrich family.
Mhm.
They don't abut any existing conservation.
Yeah, but they are, but I think, well, you know, it's kind of separate there, but I feel like across the street, if you protect the Zechos and then you protect that, I know there's residences in between, but it's a pretty good corridor. We're not going to get anything better in Northborough.
Yeah.
Mia, I'm joining with a second computer if you can let me in.
And 297 Crawford is protected now, or it is about to be. I don't know if it closed yet. You have that on there, DuPont.
Yep.
Just to the north. So I think SVT is taking the CR. I'm pretty sure they were when I left.
John, I'm not seeing the, oh, there you are.
Easier for me to see the post. Thank you.
You're welcome. So back up to Crawford. We've got the Fidrich land and also the Zeco land. We talked quickly about DuPont. I think SVT is working with the owner there. The owner passed away, and the heir is honoring her wishes to have some type of preservation on the land, but he did not want to have any public access. So the town could not. We're still here if he wants to, but I think he's moving forward with SVT.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably take that off the list, but I don't know exactly where things are at the moment.
Does it have a benefit to have public access? Is it connected?
It's not connected to anything.
No, and in her will, I mean, it wasn't like very specific in her will, but apparently she stated she wanted it to be just for wildlife. But the will was fairly vague. So I think what SVT is planning on doing is having it, they're not going to advertise it. They're not going to cut additional trails, but they may have like a road sign, just like hanging one. And maybe occasionally lead walks, but I don't know. That was what we discussed with the estate.
I missed that. Whose estate was that?
DuPont?
DuPont,
Okay,
this one.
thank you.
Now the Zeco properties, the Trails Committee is interested in this, and they had actually, you know, independent of this conversation, they had asked me to bring this up to you tonight. Let me find the exact one. Connect Jubilee over the Warren property. So I'm going to switch to my town GIS. Can you see the Jubilee Trail here?
Mm-hmm.
So these are the Zeco properties. And the town owns, I believe, yep, this one, this blue one. And then these are the Zecos. I think this is nope, that's Anderson and Calenti. So there's one over here that is Warren property. This one. They were hoping to somehow expand this and get, because this right here, even though there's a driveway on it, this is still New England Forestry, so there must be an easement. So they would like to come through here. And so as part of our landowner outreach, if we could also reach out to the Warrens and ask to put a trail across their backland. And then, you know, possibly connect some outreach up here to the Zecos and make this loop, you know, more of this kind of shape. You know, bump this out. Or this would probably stay in there. That would just be a center cut. But including the Warrens in that outreach.
Just with regard to the trail,
Yes,
permission or?
that's right. Yep, because conservation owns this one. And they could just make a connection right now if they could just get that easement across the back of the Warrens. But then if we try to get some of this Zeco property, I don't know if they're interested in developing. Do you guys know of any outreach you've done with the Zecos, or was there any response?
I don't think there was any response. I think we did send a letter, but I'm not 100% sure.
Does anyone know
Would
any
be
of
nice to
them?
expand that because that Jubilee Trail's so short. Be nice to expand the network in there.
Yeah, and if they were interested in allowing an easement, that might open the door for a conversation about selling land for conservation. From what I hear through the grapevine about the family, I have a feeling they wouldn't be interested, but I don't know. It's just all secondhand.
It's also multi-generations. different
Yeah,
people.
right.
No one knows any of the Zeckos.
I know of people who know the Zeckos. That's it.
I mean, Mike plows our driveway, and Hunter has done some work at our house before, the son. But I don't think Hunter is Mike's son. Hunter is the other one's son.
So
I
maybe
think-
ask him.
Yeah, it would definitely be worth a conversation or at least a letter.
Okay, so we're gonna highlight these.
If they haven't developed it yet.
Mhm. And you probably want to send a letter to, like a formal letter to Gutierrez, Juniper Hill.
Yeah.
Did we discuss this 155 Cherry Street?
No, I don't think so. And I was wondering about that one. Did they, I think they were at the recent, it was 55. They were at the recent meeting about the common driveway.
John Jordan and Carolyn Jordan.
So is that wrapping around? Is that the old, like the old school house that's?
No, it's across the street to the southeast of the schoolhouse.
Oh, so on the side where we already have the trail connecting over to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a long property. I feel like when we were talking about the Oberg properties near Melican, were they one of the people that said they were interested? I think they were in allowing a trail easement over their backland.
Okay, so they should get
I think so.
a letter.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
there are
the
a
new
few
letter should
people
really
right
be
there.
about. The new letter should touch on easements and purchase.
Yeah, we should. I mean, that would make sense. We could sign it jointly with the Trails Committee.
Mhm. Do you want to send a letter to Mrs. Maney again? Or do you think she already knows that she can call us when she's ready?
Yeah, and I think, go ahead, Leslie.
I was gonna say, I don't think it can hurt. It's been, well, the pandemic's been over a year, so that's kind of a lost year. It's probably been close to 2 years since we met with her, at least a year and a half. It's been a while.
The only thing, my thing is, if anything was going to happen there, it would probably be a conservation restriction without public. I mean, it could allow public access, but I highly doubt. It's just not the kind of property that's conducive to that. And does the town hold a
It's not
conservation?
contiguous with anything.
Yeah, and does the town hold a conservation restriction that doesn't allow public access?
I
It
think
would be fantastic if that house was preserved with the land, and if that was chopped up and developed behind it, it would be really sad. But
it is
Yeah,
contiguous.
is it?
The Trails Committee was just talking about that one as well. It's almost, I wish I could share two
It
screens.
has 290 behind it, doesn't it?
So do you see here? Can you see?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cold Harbor Trail actually comes out on Church Street, and the Trails Committee recently cleared it out. It had been a little overgrown. They don't mind crossing Church Street, and they were thinking about, hopping up this way. They're always looking for connections, and then somehow spilling out onto Brewer, getting up to Pisgah,
Interesting.
but there is a trail here, not sure if you could come in through or just do a loop here, parking area somewhere on Brewer Street.
She might be willing to allow an easement, certainly.
Park here and then come in to access Cold Harbor Trails. Then you'd have a crosswalk in Church. It's not the best, but it is technically contiguous.
Take
Yeah.
your life into your hand crossing Church Street, but
I know. I mean, it would be great.
She
There's
might
like that
be
whole,
open. Oh, go ahead.
it's just that whole chunk of land to the west on her property that they don't even use. Be a good place for the trail to go through.
Then there's a spot over here that is undeveloped and often ends up being undevelopable. You never know. Wetlands change every few years, but developers come through every few years and contact me and say, what can we put there? And I'm like, good luck with your wetland delineations. So there's flags out there right now.
Interesting.
I mean, it might be worth contacting her about a trail easement.
Yeah, wouldn't hurt to send a letter. You're right. You're right.
Okay. So the Fidrich family. Did you receive any responses from there?
No, just like I said, Ann Fidrich came in to ask Kathy about building her daughter's house and just mentioned that she got it and they're not thinking
Okay.
about anything like that at the moment.
All right, but we could send them a letter.
Yeah.
Okay, the next is 297 Crawford. Are you seeing the Excel or the map right now?
The map.
Yeah.
Okay. This is DuPont. So we've decided to take that one off.
I mean, we can check for an update from SVT, but I think that was moving forward. I think if it wasn't going to move forward, they'd probably reach back out to the town.
Okay. This is 363 Crawford. It was on the letters, the 2017 letters. I don't think it connects to anything.
Yeah, it's kind of just out there. How many? It's 26 acres or something?
13.
13.
Does it have any potential for fields or anything like that? I see the
No.
wetlands on the right side, but is there
Yeah.
any usable?
Mia, what's that big parcel
No, it's steep.
Oh.
Yeah,
just to the
It's lead writing.
southwest?
this one.
Yeah.
That's
That's
the
the-
DuPont.
Oh, that is. Oh, so
Yeah.
so it is, I mean, it's next to a, yeah.
Yeah,
just
not
for open
exactly
space.
contiguous, but pretty darn close if you got a little easement through the neighbor's property.
But I think right now there's no public access on DuPont.
Right. No official public access.
But in the future, so we'll leave it on the list. Leave this one on the list. I think John keeps getting booted.
Oh, no.
Probably sideways.
Okay. So should we send letters to DuPont or Romeo?
Not DuPont.
Okay. Romeo.
It's the one you have highlighted?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. Why not?
Then the next one is an easy one that will definitely. I have not had contact with Mr. DeFutis since like 2014, but I did let him know at that time. And this is really obviously like a link between the Shunder Field and all of Pisgah.
Yeah, so
eyes
his
on this forever.
daughters, his youngest kids are off to college this coming year. So I'm
Okay.
wondering if he's gonna take off after that. And maybe that might be for sale, or maybe the conversation could be opened again. He would
So
just,
send
at
him
the
a letter.
last, he had a very high number. Todd Helwig was negotiating with him, and I think Gino just stopped answering.
John is gone again.
Oh, man. We could try again, and I think we would, if there was any possibility, we would probably have Todd to do the talking again because
Oh, good. Let me.
they've
I'll note
developed a
that.
relationship.
Say last contact with Todd Helwig. Okay, this is Daniel Cox at 522 Rear Green Street. we don't have anything necessarily right there.
There's a lot of open space in Boylston abutting that, a lot of
Yeah.
of property. It would be, I think it would make sense to reach out,
Okay.
even if it ended up being, and to the north, no, to the north, we do have the,
Corner.
yeah, that's, I forget his name. Barry Ager?
Yeah.
Is that his? Yeah,
That and this little sliver here.
right.
Tina, I can't even highlight it. It's so small.
Right.
Can you see that? This
No.
little teeny.
Oh, right. That was
That
like
was Ager as well.
unknown before yeah.
Oh, that's funny. It says
Oh.
something else now.
Yeah, I think there
That's
was
ours.
there was a tax issue there. I had to work with the assessor on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the Cox, I think we sent a letter, SBT sent a letter when we were doing the Tri-Town project.
Okay.
It never got any response, but wouldn't hurt to keep them on the list because they're obviously not doing anything with that land.
Okay. I think, so then there's this whole list of Howard Street properties. This is Fournier, Cotu, Duffick, and then Todd already, this is Todd Helwig's, he already put a CR on his backland. So it'd be a similar situation with the bottom three, just to try to get this trail in there.
Yeah, so
Own this one.
we could do like a more tailored letter to those few people.
Okay. And it might be a similar letter to these parcels up here, because we just purchased this parcel, the backland of 615 Howard. And then the siblings are
Yeah,
here, here, and here. And that could
or
be a
at least
similar,
the two north.
you know,
I don't think that last one that you just highlighted, I don't think that's a sibling, but
no.
I think the other one, the other sibling is across the street. But I think definitely sending those folks a letter. I mean, they saw, what happened with their brother. I would think that they might be interested.
Yeah. And then across the street is on our list, 660 Howard Street.
Yeah, so I think that's one brother, and then we worked with the other brother, and then the two sisters live to the north.
So I'm not sure if you would be, I think we lost John again.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
No, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on, but I blanked out twice.
Okay.
I was
And
going to mention when you were mentioning DeFutis, and then you just brought up Todd. He had the last one-on-one conversation, I think,
Mhm.
with Gino.
Yeah.
And it didn't produce anything really with traction. He
Yeah, I was
kind of dug in that he wanted to, farm it for trees from time to time and hunt, and he didn't really want to, didn't want to open it to access, but
John, your voice is garbled, or unless it's just me.
again,
No, yeah, he's got bad service, I think. I mean, John, he definitely, it didn't really go anywhere. I think the numbers were too far apart, but I also was saying his youngest two are off to college next year. His parents have their house up on the market. He might be looking to move down to Connecticut where his other land is. I don't know. That's something that I'd heard. So it wouldn't hurt to send another letter to him. And if there was renewed interest, just send Todd at him.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll send it. His would be a unique letter.
I think so.
Okay. All right. Then moving on to Lincoln Street, and this kind of overlaps with another thing on our agenda, was these 5 particular parcels.
there always seems to be potential to carve out something at least that would give us trail.
John, that wasn't completely clear. I mean, so they sold off the backland, right? They sold the backland. Is it being developed into multi-units or is it just one house back there?
Yeah, but you're right. He wanted a lot of money and it was way undervalued in what we were. So hear me?
Yep. I
A
can
little
hear
better
you.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe a new, you know, maybe if we could get closer, I don't know if we're willing to do that, but the market is insane right now, so that doesn't help the situation. So for this Augur Ave, Mia, do you know what's happening with that larger piece that was sold off?
It was bought by Mr. Tonelli, who lives right here.
Oh, okay.
And then he also owns this triangle, and he
Oh.
bought this.
Okay.
It could be a parcel for his kids. I don't see any frontage. His frontage is here on Cherry and West.
Yeah.
And then
And
he has access through this combined drive.
Does he have access on Augur Ave though, but just for like one house, right? Like that's what we
Yeah, I
thought.
think you're right. I think he owns this.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we could potentially put in some kind of something.
Yep.
Is this part of the 85-95 West Street development?
No.
It's nearby, but it's not part of it.
Yeah, no, that
That
one's
85-95 is right here. And then Mr.
Is that- I
Tonelli
think-
lives right here behind it.
Didn't they just go in front of the planning board for to get additional lots put in?
Yes. I think the lots were just A&Rs, approval not required, and now they're going for a common drive.
I don't think Mr. Tonelli's particularly happy about it. Maybe he should buy it.
Yeah.
And then put a CR on all of it. Give it to us.
Is it not his property? I thought it was.
No, no, that's owned by someone else, right?
Viners.
The Viners.
They have a single house here in the front. They own both these, and it's already been parceled.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the parcels look different than this. It hasn't been updated. So the lots on Lincoln Street are these here. It used to include this land, which is now with Tonelli. So it's these 5. Oh, it's not highlighting well. Let me try reloading. There we go. So
So I
we
guess
did.
the lots on Lincoln Street are still for sale, right?
They're under agreement. We were called, Kathy was called on Friday, I think, by their representative that they're under agreement and they're seeking, they always call us, say, what can we do with it? And we refer to them to the zoning enforcement officer to do a zoning interpretation of what they
It's
want to do.
pretty wet from what I remember.
It is.
Yeah,
I don't know how wet. They wouldn't let me on it, but I walked around the perimeter.
Yeah. I mean, without the backland, it seems like that would be good for the school if it was
Allie looked
usable.
at it.
but-
Yeah,
She
she looked
said
at
it
it for
wasn't, right?
fields. She said it wasn't. She said it was too wet and couldn't get the dimensions they needed for fields.
Mhm.
So it's currently under agreement.
I say we pass on those.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So I'm going to make a note in the spreadsheet. Pass for now. No letter. Okay, the next is on the list is 0 Lyman. That's this parcel here. You may know it as Chauncey Hall. They do have a permit, DCAM, it's the Department of, what is it? Can't even think of it. It's
Capital asset
Capital
management.
Asset and Management and Maintenance,
Yeah.
yep. So they're demoing Chauncey Hall and these 2 pole barns, as well as the power station, and then these tanks. But then, so they have a permit from conservation to do that. We've received an email from DCAM with a request to meet with town staff for the permits needed for DCAM to build their statewide facility.
Oh.
So, it's possible they won't use it all. And you can see there's a whole bunch of existing trails. We'd love to even get the backland. But definitely this is way more wet than it even looks here. But definitely this area here is going to become their DCAM facility.
So they're still using it.
Yep. Next on the list is 90 Maynard, the Gillerin Tree Farm. I think it's a good idea to send them a letter, let them know we're still interested.
Yeah, I was just looking, the last communication was September of 2018, where Ashley had sent just a follow-up, and that was a follow-up to a meeting that had been quite a bit before that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say just, we're here whenever you're ready.
Okay.
But that should be, a unique letter, I think.
Yeah, one of their kids just graduated from college, and another one just from high school, so the kids are getting older.
Okay. And the next on the list is back towards the West Main Street area. Let's see if I can get us over there. Okay, so this is the Bigelow lots and the Borgatti lots.
Yeah. Top.
So I imagine we want to send them letters.
Yeah.
There's one more, Andrew San Clemente. He's over here as well.
A smaller piece, maybe.
Yeah, he has moved.
Hmm.
And there's nothing on it. Let me see if I can find.
Do you know if the Bigelows are still using any of like that parcel? Because I was surprised when I went to buy stuff there. Again, it's probably been 2 years now, but they took me in a truck. I was like, no, we can walk. They're like, no, it's far. I was shocked at how far back it went.
Yeah, they do
Yeah.
use it.
Okay.
So
Well,
this
they-
San Clemente is more part of that Jubilee network with the
Okay.
Zeccos. He lived here before. Here or one of the other ones. And sold it. And so this little back part, it's still in his name. And it doesn't have any frontage. So that would be a really good one. And that's right next to the Jubilee Trail. We could work with this owner to put a little easement over the back and get some more acreage over there for the Jubilee network. So he might get his own special letter. I'll make him blue.
Yeah. I'm going to be back in 5 minutes. Sorry.
Okay.
everyone.
Mia, who's that owner again?
Andrew San Clemente, I believe he's moved.
What is still in his name?
It is. We're in that time of year where things aren't updated. They're going to be updated in the spring. Let's see. And then I think I just said all this Borgatti and Bigelow property. And Leslie, you were talking about this piece. Yeah, it really goes far back. All the way up to Shops Way.
Yeah, I was surprised how far back it went.
They do use a lot of it. You can see just from the
Yeah,
areas.
it's,
They use
it's
a lot of it.
impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not everything's not even there. A lot of what they grow is elsewhere too.
I think they do a lot of wholesale. The Borgatti land is here. It's Roberto Realty. This parcel is owned by the town of Shrewsbury. It's an old DPW yard that they've kept. And the topo out here is a little crazy. I'll switch to here because it's going to get a little busy. You can see there's a lot of highs and lows. Then the last one on the list is 432 Whitney. Mr. Anza owns 2 properties across the street from each other. This one across the street is where, I mean, there has been, I've walked this one, and this one's still under the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission. This one across the street is under state jurisdiction, and I've never walked it. I walked this one next door so I can see the condition of this one. But this one across the street, other than some compost stockpiling, doesn't appear to be that affected. He did clear it a few years ago, maybe 2015, 16. And it is on the market.
Oh, it is.
Didn't you
Been
say
on
that
for
there-
6 months, right?
1.7 million.
They're both on the
Wasn't
market
there-
or just, oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, wasn't there someone interested in buying it? And they-
Yeah, and a couple people have come through and requested the plan. We have some pretty current plans for it because he had to submit some plans. And so we just hand them over. Yeah, it looks like just the one, 1.7 million. Can you still see the map? Or can you see the realtor.com?
Realtor.com.
Okay, so there it is. That blue parcel is, I think it's owned by the state. It's just the green.
And where the dump was, I mean, who knows what he's got up there? I'm not sure
Up
that's,
here, yeah.
oh my God, it's been a disaster for years. So I'd be a little wary of that.
Very, very wary. And then all this back here is owned by the state. See the topo.
And there's the aqueduct to the left of it.
Yep, runs right along it.
Yep.
I would love to buy this property. I think it's perfect.
Yeah, I think that would be a good one to take. But
Hard time.
1.7 is not ideal.
And
Or
honestly, the
realistic.
recipient is not someone I would choose to do business with either.
Yeah.
I don't think I could stand behind that. I'm sorry. It's just, there's too much history.
I mean, is there any downside to sending a letter?
And would it be a letter like the generic, have you considered conservation, or would it be more specific, like we would like to do an appraisal? Because this, I mean, this is the type of property, it's on the market. It's now time. Who brought it up last month? Someone brought it up and asked it to be put on the agenda this month. I can look in the minutes.
It could have been me.
Oh, so this is not the dump site. This is across the street.
It's across the street. Oh, we don't want the dump site.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh,
Okay.
We don't want to
Okay,
touch
okay,
the dump
okay,
site.
That's
It's the
what I was
same
saying.
one.
Okay. Okay. I just got my bearings on the map there. Okay.
Let me find, someone specifically brought this up and said, put this on the agenda next
If
month.
you're talking about buying him out and destroying it, that's one thing.
Didn't really catch that, John?
It was Paul.
It was me?
It was you. You said it was on, it said, Mr. Tagliaferri said the land was for sale.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was getting late at night. And so we said we put it on this month's agenda. So, I mean, regardless of the history and the owner, if this was just a parcel of land that was being put on the market, I think this is something you would consider. You know, it's adjacent to the aqueduct. It's in industrial.
Yeah, I
It
guess my
has
general
wetlands.
feeling is that we should send a letter, at least try to make contact to at least get a feeling. Obviously, 1.7 million is not gonna, the price tag is high, but it's not gonna
I'm
hurt to
hearing
send a
you.
letter.
It's a beautiful piece too. Can you do the topo on it? As I recall, it's like
Yeah.
a hill
It is.
towards the
It's kind
back
of like,
because he was going to
yeah.
put his house up on the hill.
exactly. So with this, I would check with my supervisor, Kathy, and then she would confirm with the town administrator. And so this is usually when there's an issue on this, people call and complain about if there's ever any activity on this property. And what happens is I notify Kathy, who notifies the town administrator, that I call him. I call him directly. I have his cell phone, and I just call Mr. Anza and I say, this was reported on your property. We schedule a meeting. Greg Young, the chairman, and I have visited it twice. And he just shows us, I moved this, I moved these fences, I brought the cows over. And that's for reported wetlands violations. So that's just the relationship we have right now, that, it's not the friendliest, he's not on the friendliest terms with the town. And so we're very straightforward, we just call him directly and say, this has been reported. And then we put it in writing. So I would call him. I would again do the same thing. Check with Kathy, check with John, then call him and say, we're going to be sending you a letter. Open Space saw that your property's on the market. Would you allow them to do an appraisal? And then you'd have to pay that. I mean, if that wasn't Mr. Anza, that's what you would do. You would decide if you want to pay for an appraisal for this property. And then you can only pay the appraised price. He can just laugh at it, throw it away, do whatever he wants. Or consider it.
So Mia, you say that all around is owned by, look like DCR.
Yeah, I'll try to highlight those.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wonder if the state is interested in this. It's odd that the Office of Lakes and Ponds, I wonder why they own all that.
I think it might be part of their
Aqueduct,
the
isn't it?
barefoot flood control.
Yeah, that's usually a different, well, it's all DCR.
Doesn't the
I guess.
aqueduct run right there though? Too?
The
Yeah.
aqueduct is right
Yep.
here.
Is that a reason though? I don't know.
No, DCR wouldn't buy it for that. Not that, I mean,
Yeah.
MDRA might buy it, but not DCR.
I mean,
I'm
the
just,
aqueduct is right next to it. You just did Newton Street.
I believe this is part of the barefoot flood. There was technically in the 60s, there was a barefoot flood control facility.
Hmm.
And I think it got bisected by the highway.
okay, so this wasn't a recent acquisition by the state.
Let me check the property record card.
95.
It's strange.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just seems like an odd place to have state land.
Yeah.
4235 274.
I don't know if it's worth reaching out to DCR state parks to see if they're interested in that or not.
I'm gonna venture a guess and say no.
I would say so too, but
It's an order. No, this is barefoot flood control. They must have just done some kind of updating in 95.
name.
1961 in the order. This is barefoot flood control.
okay.
The Massachusetts Water Resources. And the previous owner was Prino, 1961. So I don't know why it says
Owned everything.
1995. What's that?
He just owned everything over there.
Mr. Prino?
Prino Bonzoli, yeah.
So the state took all this this is the barefoot flood control. So this is a little higher up. I mean, this is low here, or I can put the topo on. This is a low wetland here. And then it comes along the aqueduct, and this is a high knoll up here.
So it does say on the property card that it's classified as COM-61A.
Yep,
and
he
then
has it.
a
432?
Yeah.
Yep. He has it classified as a farm. He keeps animals there.
Oh, okay.
I believe what he said to me was his farm plan includes both parcels. It's considered one farm, 429 and 432, but he's selling this as 432.
And he's not selling the one across the street.
See, let's try. Maybe he is. For 2.3 million. Yeah, it looks like it might still be for sale. I do not recommend pursuing that one because of the history and what might be on the property. We just don't know what's on the property. Could be a million different things. Or nothing, but probably a million different things.
Yeah.
Um,
I would have.
Okay.
So, letter, generic letter.
What's
We'd
our
like to
purpose
do an
in-
appraisal letter.
What's our goal in a letter to him for 432?
Yes, that's my question.
I mean,
Ashley, you're muted.
Because of where it is at, like on the market, would it make more sense to reach out to the realtor and just inquire rather than a letter?
I did.
Oh,
Yeah. She was like, let's go for a walk. I'm like, no, I'm in town. So
oh,
I just want to know how much it was. The price wasn't there. There was just the sign out front and it wasn't listed anywhere on the internet, probably about a year ago. And so I just called the number. And she was like, I'll sell it to you today. And I'm like, hold on. You know what realtors are. They're very helpful.
oh, right.
Oh, yeah. Very helpful.
would we be concerned? You know, there's such controversy with 429 and the large amount of residents near there that have been fighting it, they want to blow it up. How is it perceived that we want to buy the land across the street but not address the problem child, you know? I don't
That's
know
where
that we
I'm,
get that
I'm
much
torn.
support for it.
That's where I'm torn. The amount of, the beauty of the land and the value of it is certainly there, but I would have a very hard time
I
stomaching
mean,
giving him any money.
exactly.
Some people might be relieved that we're
Yeah, I was
taking
gonna
a
say,
problem out of the way. If we own that southern parcel, nothing's going to happen there.
I bet you it's not a minority of people that would probably hope that the town could pay for both those parcels of land and turn it into nothing as opposed to whatever is there.
Well, that was part of my point, that there's more
Right.
support to buying the part that he's, for the most part, active on and causes so many problems on.
Yeah.
And if your strategy was not to clear them out completely, then I don't know how we get support at town meeting for what, at that price tag, we'd have to go and borrow.
Yep.
Or advocate to borrow on CPA. And
It's a little bit
people are going to be, what are you,
I mean,
why are you guys bothering with that when the problem is across the street, right?
I mean, how much was the total price tag for White Cliffs was what? $4 million?
No, to
2 million? In two and
Question.
change plus all the additions or proposed things to get it
Well,
up to
you're-
code.
You know, I'm not sure where you're going with that, but it's right now, it's a bit of a white elephant, right? Town owns it and is having a real hard time executing the perceived plan on it from what I know. So it's been on my mind to get back around to that, where how are we going to come through on that investment, because it doesn't look good right now. So the next big thing we go to, I mean, looking ahead, if we have a big land buy and we have to go to CPA and then we have to go to town meeting, we have to have a pretty good case.
Well, I think the other consideration too is maybe it's not 1.7 million, maybe it's something less than that.
Of course, yep.
And I do think that those neighborhoods over there would be relieved if that became open space.
I don't think there's any harm in seeing if the realtor if he's even willing to discuss some sort of, conservation or bargain sale, or he might tell us to get lost. That would be the end of it anyway.
So Mia, what is the story with, what's the current status of the dump site?
Across the street,
Yeah.
it's under state jurisdiction.
Is it
Department of
still- is it
Wetlands and
still-
Solid Waste, Air Quality, Mass DEP, and the Attorney General's office.
But is he adhering to whatever restrictions there are? Or is he still in
I
defiance?
don't know. I don't
Okay.
know. They are watching the site. They're over there. I see them over there.
Okay.
It got
Doing
appealed.
oversight, you mean?
There's no town oversight over there. I mean, there is with the animal enforcement officer. She goes over there. So turns out he's actually an excellent animal husband. He's very good at animal husbandry. So
Can you even sell a property with that many problems? Who would buy it?
I know people have called and asked for our plans. And then they said the next step was that they would have to, based on the plans, they would have to send someone over there to evaluate it, like a 21E, but there's no records because it's just the one owner. And then I never hear anything else. So I don't know if they do, either they request to do the site evaluation and they're not able to, or they do the site evaluation and then walk away. It could be, or maybe they just decide they found another site.
Yeah.
I would assume that any 21E is going to recommend testing, and then Santo An's is not going to allow testing. Like, I just don't see him allowing the phase 2.
But I don't know of any dumping at 432, other than compost. That I read in the files that compost material was brought in, and there was never any trash in the previous agent. It was me, then Kale, then me again. And when I visited it and when Kale visited it, there was never any reports of trash or across the street, the reports are couches, cranberries, stone from building sites. That's at 429. At 432, the only reports were ever just compost material. Unsuitable for road base, which is what he was trying to do, which is why the Conservation Commission had to issue a cease and desist. But in the end,
Okay, well, fair enough.
it's all work in a buffer, which isn't a huge deal.
So you're going to approach the realtor and
It's up
just,
to you. What
we're
do
going
you
to
think?
float a trial balloon? It seems like the group wants to do that. It's fraught with challenges, but why not? Let's see what happens.
Lowball it. Throw something out.
Well, I think it would be an appraisal. We would request the realtor to
Obviously.
do an appraisal. Because we can only pay what it's worth.
We couldn't pay less.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
We could.
If you wanted to offer it to us for $100, we could definitely buy it for $100. We can't pay more than what it's worth.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, offer less. Yeah. There's
There's
not going to
nothing
be a
to lo-
comp
nothing
for
to-
this.
Nothing to lose to see.
It has frontage.
Yeah.
Has the industrial owner next door shown any interest? Do you know, or?
No.
No.
Not that I know of. I mean, maybe they contacted the realtor. I had a request, I want to say December, to do a site visit with a prospective buyer. And we had a date and they said they were going to let me know. And then they said we need more time because of COVID, and I haven't heard back.
Okay,
I
then.
mean, it's not the flattest piece of property either.
No. It gets very,
Okay.
very narrow in here. So do you want me to ask the realtor if they would entertain an appraisal? And if she says yes, then next time you meet, you would vote as to whether you wanted to. If she says yes, I'll go ahead and solicit quotes, and then you would vote to see if you wanted to move forward with the appraisal. Does that sound like a good plan?
Yep.
Yes.
Sure, yes.
And that's the consensus of the committee? Is there anyone against it? No. Okay. You don't have to vote. I just want to make sure if there's anyone who strongly dissents that we record your opinion.
Very good. Well, we definitely made a lot of progress, more than I expected. Thank you, Mia, for the spreadsheet. And
Sure.
Yeah, that's
so
great.
we've
Thank you.
got, I don't know, I got like 6 letters, except for the time that I was in the dark side of the moon. I missed a couple.
So I just want to review that spreadsheet. Everyone in yellow is getting a generic letter. Mr. DeFutis is getting a specific letter to his property. The green are letters that are more focused on easements and conservation restriction opportunities. These are more generics. This and Mr. San Clementi's getting a specific letter.
Gillerin should be specific letter.
Okay, we can change that. And then as for the letter, do you want me to modify the previous letter, or does anyone else want to try writing the letter?
Yeah, I can work on a few of them, the more specific ones. I can work on that if you'd like.
Okay. On the specific ones? Is
Sure.
that what you said? Okay.
Mhm.
You want to work on Gillerin and DeFutis?
Sure.
Okay, I think I know Mr. San Clementi. I worked with him. Does anyone else know Mr. San Clementi?
No.
Okay, I worked with him on some wetland stuff. So I can reach out. I may even have his phone number. And then Mr. Anza will hold off on the letter. His is more of a contact realtor to request ability to conduct appraisal.
Yeah, maybe the letters too. I don't know how other people feel, but maybe this time around with the generic letters, they're a little more to the point, like sort of like how the town works and what the options are, rather than you have a beautiful piece of property, blah, blah, blah. Maybe we're more direct about it. I don't know.
Sure, I'll put
For
something
instance,
together.
Yeah, for instance, you can highlight the town remains committed, and recent open space plan confirms that commitment. The town commits to the conservation fund, and that's a mechanism by which we've been able to conserve similar properties to yours or something along those lines, so that they see a path of action that's developed over the last decade, really, but certainly last few years, right?
Mhm. Can include that in the
And
generic
if you go
letter.
back if you go back to the Shunder property and even before, we have a pretty consistent record of proactively going after it and getting the town on board. And it's in almost every case, I think, successful town meeting approval.
Okay, easement. All right,
Ready
I'll
to
work
move
on
on
this
in the
letter.
agenda?
Yes.
Okay. We have Northborough Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Plan. Is this informational, or do we need to be involved in some way? I still forget what it is.
Ashley asked for this to be placed on the agenda. Ashley, do you want to take over?
I did, but I don't know. I looked at the plan and I'm not sure where there's a place for us here. I just didn't know if we should, I guess my comment was that we should review the plan and just make sure there's not any place where we should be doing any sort of implementation or thinking about it, because I have seen the MVP grants used successfully for land acquisitions, especially in wetland areas. So if we don't have anything about land acquisitions to accomplish sort of like stormwater goals. Maybe we think about amending it to include those, so we could at some point apply to the MVP grant for land acquisition in a strategic place. That's all. And you know, I looked at it a couple months back, and I haven't looked at it again, and I can't remember if there were any goals around that. But I feel
There
like
aren't.
there weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's, and so when we did the meetings, it's vulnerability. It's looking at where climate change is going to affect Northborough and where we're vulnerable. And Northborough doesn't, I mean, we have urbanized flooding, surge flooding, but we generally don't have long-term flooding issues because we have 3 flood control facilities that were crafted in the 60s. So there's just
Right.
millions and millions of acres of stormwater storage already in town. So thankfully we don't have that problem. There was more, the greatest vulnerability. Scott Charpentier, the DPW director, did write, gave me an update that we did receive official designation as an MVP community at the end of September. The process going forward is for the core team, which was assembled during the planning process, to identify priority projects listed in the approved plan. And then they're going to seek funding to get that support. And they're going to work, we're going to have that staff core team work with a consultant to prepare a grant application for the state's consideration, so that the first and the number one project that came out of that was a dam. Did I already tell you guys that's a dam on the Shrewsbury-Boylston line that is owned by the town of Northborough? If you think of Reservoir Street, there is a reservoir up there. It's like a run of the river dam that was blocked up, and it's in extremely poor condition. And it could cause, I don't think it's loss of life, but could cause loss of property if it fails. And so the town really needs to get rid of it, remove that impoundment. And so that was considered to be the greatest risk, because our greatest risk in Northborough is from storms. So that was the number one project that came out of it.
Obviously, if there are big projects that require the funding now, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think talking about land acquisitions as a strategy, a nature-based solution strategy, which they really like to see, is more of a tactical thing in terms of getting more funding for that in town. So if it doesn't necessarily have to be high on the list, but if there was a time when amendments were being made, trying to get something in there that even refers to it and, in a very vague way, would allow us the opportunity to potentially apply for that funding if there ever were a property that came up that would make sense there. That's all. It's sort of a tactical thing, and I've seen it used successfully. And so that's all.
Is DPW responsible for that plan? Is that what you're saying?
There's a core
Yeah.
team. I'm on the core team.
Oh, okay.
And DPW is, and I think Kathy and Fred are as well. And so, the next step is to apply with a consultant. The consultant's going to apply for the grant to remove the impoundment. And then, as the grant rounds continue, then we would look at what's the next priority that was highlighted in the plan. And I don't remember what the following, it's on the DPW website if you want to read it. There might even be.
I guess, Ashley, if you see a place where the plan should be expanded, is that what I'm hearing, to give us the opportunity down the road, then that would be our only stake in this at this time.
Yeah, I wouldn't overstep what the core team's done. I'm just suggesting that it be thought about when they're looking at it. Yeah, a lot of times these plans get amended. They're not static. They can be amended in the future and as issues change. So if there's a time when there are amendments being made, that gets sort of slipped in there or considered as a strategy, and then that's a whole nother pot of funding. The ones that I've seen successfully use are multi-million-dollar grants for land acquisitions. So this is above and beyond anything that the state has for land acquisitions currently. So if we had any properties that we thought fit there, as properties that could assist with our dealing with storm issues, it could even be, protecting forests to provide wind breaks for high wind situations. Doesn't have to be flooding. So it should be just considered as a strategy for any of our threats.
Yeah, if there were a comparable situation where a town like ours did it, that would be really interesting. Otherwise, it brings to mind that coastal communities would be.
Littleton just got one, $1.5 million, I believe, or around $1 million
Really?
for protection of a property, wetlands,
Interesting.
and river. Yeah. Yeah. Before that had been coastal, but Littleton did just get one.
Good, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, anything else on that though?
Nope, not for me.
We've covered the agenda, I believe. Is there any new business or items that we didn't cover? Anything anyone wants to bring up? Speak now.
If we wouldn't mind getting into minutes before we go away.
Yeah, I was going to.
Thank you.
I have the minutes in my hand. I have reviewed them. The only comment they had was my copy has October 26th at the top, and it confused me at first.
Sorry about that.
If that's the typo everybody's got, then that's all I need you to address.
Yeah, that was it.
If there's any comments, please bring forth. Otherwise, could I have a motion to approve the minutes? From November 23, I'm sorry.
So moved.
Thank you, Leslie. Any comments? Otherwise, I'd like to have a vote to approve the minutes. We'll do it by roll call.
Was there a second?
I'm sorry, I didn't
Second.
hear it.
Thank you.
Second from Anthony. That being said, we need a roll call vote. Start with Anthony.
Aye.
Ashley.
Hi.
Paul.
Aye.
Dan.
Yes.
Leslie.
Aye.
And me. Aye. 6-0. Minutes are approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything else, guys? How do people feel about a meeting? Should we do it next month or wait 2 months? Any opinion?
Well, if we want to send out letters, maybe we do it in a month.
Very good. Last Monday of March. Okay, then.
Good luck.
I think that's, well, I guess March is longer, so that's the 29th, I believe.
Sure.
Yep, there are 5. We normally do the 4th though, right? The
Right?
4th Monday, which is the 22nd. There just happened to be 5.
There happened to be.
Either way.
But you're right. Any conflicts with either date, anybody?
Nope.
Any other town meeting conflicts that anyone knows of?
The Board of Selectmen might be meeting that night. They usually meet the 2nd and 4th, but I think they have some budget things. I can check the town website right now if you'd like.
I mean, they're meeting tonight too, right?
Yes. But if anyone needs to go to the meeting for any reason. I'll just check the calendar.
We do it on the 29th and invite our liaison.
Yeah, Board of Selectmen is meeting March 22nd. But they're meeting tonight, like you said.
I'm fine with either date.
Either way.
Well, we'll stick with the 22nd then, is the fourth Monday, as you said. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
I'm sorry, 1 second.
Yep.
I just have to check one more thing.
Sure.
I'm trying to see if the Trails Committee picked. Oh, Wednesday, March 17th is when they're meeting. Okay, no conflict.
Very good. We'll go with March 22nd. If there's any conflicts that arise, let us know. We can be flexible. That's all I got, people.
Record-breaking time for us.
Could there be a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Don't jump at
Second,
once.
third, fourth.
Give it to Dan. Could I have a roll call vote to adjourn? Anthony?
Aye.
Ashley?
Aye.
Paul?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Leslie?
Yes, please.
John, yes. Thanks, everybody. Good to see you. Good
Thanks.
meeting. It was pretty productive
Bye.
on the property
good one.
candidates. See you later.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
so much.
March.
Yeah, you really helped move it along. Thanks for the spreadsheet and all the
Thanks.
navigating.
Yes,
Thanks.
thank you, Mia.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You
You
too.
too.